show up, I start telling jokes, they get upset, and one guy takes a pillow and just go like, "Get off!" and he throws the pillow. And so I've had horrible shows where people stop listening to me and just start talking amongst themselves, like big shows.
Yeah, so you've been quite active online. So a lot of people are not, right? A lot of people are taking this time to kind of like just self-reflect, and then if they have free time, then they'll go online. But for you kind of like push your creativity more towards appealing to a even younger audience, I would say.
Yeah, I got into the social media game very late. If you notice, I mean, I've had Facebook for a long time. I think I started Instagram about 2.5 years ago. But but it was always about, for me, it was announcements. I don't like documenting my daily life, my private life, and using that as content. For me, I'm a bit, I guess, older. So the older people in entertainment, we are quite strict as to what is content and what is not content. So in our minds, content is something that you produce for with entertainment in mind, and there's a process and there is a structure to it. But then I saw the need for these numbers, for these social media numbers, to be present in my line of work, because then I started getting people who would hire me and then say, "What are your numbers?" And I'll be like, "I don't know." And I'll try and get my management to like send me numbers, and then they'd be like, "Oh, this is very low. I don't know. I don't know if we can proceed because it doesn't look like you're terribly well known." I'm like, "You know me. You asked me to come in. I don't understand. Like, I think real people know who I am. I just don't have them listed on my social media." But I understand from their point of view, the clients, the brands, they need the numbers to have to show for some KPI or for some form of accountability. I don't think it kills, but I definitely think it funnels. So when I first started, as you know, I'm an English based comedian. And then when I started doing some Malay content videos, you see a spike in numbers. And so numbers are important. So then that funnels you. You go like, okay, hold on now. So do you start doing Malay content or do you stick with English content? So then after a while, I just started doing Malay content online. And then, then once in a while I do some English content. And so it's funneling. I could not ignore this reality of social media anymore. I had to eat humble pie because you must understand, like I come from a time where it was traditional media, so our formula or our strategy was very different. Our strategy was be good at what you're doing, practice really hard, get noticed by the talent scouts, by the bosses of traditional media. Then once you are selected and you start doing well in TV shows, then you get more and more famous because the TV shows are the ones pushing you onto the public. The public, you just turn on the TV, that's the face. Now every person has their own TV in their hands. Every person has got their own channel. Now, as entertainers, I have to fight to be on your channel. It's
right.
Not something that we're used to doing. It's given me a whole new respect for people who are active and very successful on social media.
How would you draw the line between humor and satire or pure ranting then? And do you find your stuff cynical?
I think comedy, in order to be performed and to be enjoyed, for stand-up in particular, for comedy types like satire, extended metaphor, parodies, observational humor, a level of cynicism has to be there, both for the performer, creator, as well as the audience, for it to be enjoyed. I've seen some rant videos that can be quite funny, and the funniness comes from the the mannerisms of the ranter lah. Right, he's like and he's frothing in the mouth, or he's just pacing up and down, and so that becomes funny. For comedians, usually we would need to have a structure or a premise. So like, okay, what is this issue talking about? What is the end message? And how do we make it funny? Is it just by using swear words? Is it just by screaming? Is it just by doing actions that are very big and expressive? Or do we put in things like extended metaphors? Are we doing similes? Are we doing wordplay? Are we doing compare and contrast? So those are all just techniques that we use to highlight our opinion and to make it funny, to make sure that at least people have something to laugh about along the way.
Which contemporary phenomena should never be a subject of your performances, or is there anything that you stay away from?
The question I ask myself when doing a topic is the risk worth it? Or is the topic worth it? If what you're asking me is there anything I won't joke about? If that's your question, are there some things that are just taboo and you shouldn't joke about? And I will tell you, as a comedian, the answer is no. I will joke about anything. Will I vocalize the joke? Will I perform the joke? Will I present the joke? No.
Okay.
But I will joke about it. I mean, maybe sometimes with my friends, maybe in my own head. Right? So nothing for comedians and for me, nothing is off limits. Will I do it? It depends on time and place. So if I feel certain things are maybe not worth doing, or I'm not in a position to do it, then I won't do it. I won't perform it. Doesn't mean I didn't joke about it. I did. You just didn't hear it.
But sometimes certain risks are worthwhile. I mean, we all know. Also, the recent one that went viral actually was on the LRT PC. It managed to capture the nation's heart, and it's at the right time, especially. And I would like to kind of like highlight, especially in that particular performance, right? So you did use a few props, right? So those props, if people were to like look into it so intricately, it can actually, people can be offended by it, but they don't, because the subject matter itself is. I
could have worn a hat. Okay, so if I know what you're referring to, I could have worn a hat. If I had a sonko, I would have worn it.
Right.
So that wasn't the issue. I feel it was a prop. I looked at the picture. I was like, okay, I'm gonna need something like that. And I went around and I was like, do I wear a hat? And then I saw a black bowl. I was like, all right, since I've got a container, I'll just keep the theme kitchen. Like, I've got a food container on my face. Why not a bowl on the head? It's the theme. This guy wears kitchen appliances. Like, I don't understand. I guess I should have held up a spatula to make it clearer.
Can you take me through a time where your comedic performance were harshly criticized, or any embarrassing moments you thought your career would be, ending after that?
I've had an incident where a pillow was thrown at me because it was so dumb. I shouldn't have taken the job. It was a slumber party themed birthday party for this big shot and his friends. And I mean, even now, I probably wouldn't take the job, because a birthday party, your audience is not primed for the entertainer. Your audience is having a good time with their friends and their peers and people they've not seen for a long time. So they've got a lot of catching up to do, and a lot of stories that they share amongst themselves. They don't want to stop all that and listen to one guy show up and start telling jokes. It doesn't, it doesn't fit, So now I know. Now I probably wouldn't take the job. But back then when I was starting out, I had no idea. So I show up and then they're all having a good time, and suddenly the MC goes, "All right, okay, settle down. We've got a comedy show now." So all these people, they've been drinking from early, and so they obviously are really upset. Why is this? I'm having a good time. Why stop me and expect me to listen to some guy? And so I show up. I start telling jokes. They get upset, and one guy takes a pillow and just "Get off!" and he throws the pillow. And so I've had horrible shows where people stop listening to me and start talking amongst themselves, like big shows, 500, 800 people, where 700 don't care about you. They're just okay, what is this? And so they start talking, they start chatting, they start walking out, they start I'm saying while you're doing a set.
It must have been a big blow to your performer profile or persona. Okay, but how do you?
Well, not just my performer persona. It's yourself, because you are there as a stand-up comedian. You got no one else, and so you feel like you want to disappear. You feel like you need to disappear. What happens is your mind starts racing. You're like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? Do I go to this joke? Do I do this? Do I cut my losses? Do I leave now? Do I continue? And then your mouth begins to dry up. How do you survive that in the first place? You got to make a call. Do you want to fight? Do you want to flee? And then there's a third one, which is just cukup syarat. Just get on with it. So some comedians would fight. Some comedians would be like, "Hey, okay, guys, what's wrong? What today you left your sense of humor at home, is it?" And they start scolding the audience. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Bill Burr is an excellent example. He's an international comedian who is very good at this. He starts scolding the audience, and they find it funny, and eventually he wins, because he's also very good.
When you want to get into the character of a particular parody you are doing, right? So how do you go about doing so?
Trying to imitate someone, the first step is to actually watch videos of that person. Don't assume you know what the person is like and then start doing stuff. So I'll spend about, half an hour, 45 minutes watching videos, trying to pick up on the mannerisms, trying to pick up on the buzzwords, the key attributes that would be recognizable immediately, because there's nothing worse than impersonating someone people don't know. How I like to approach things is if the original issue or the original topic is in one setting, I usually like to take it out to a different setting.
I liked that you did. It was actually the Azwan Ali bit. But then you did it smartly, whereby you're talking about me instead of rendang, but with all the puns that you've thrown. I mean, it was quite natural, but also I feel like it's something that the person would actually say or do, right?
So
you watch Azwan's videos, it's hilarious. I watch his videos and they're so funny.
Among the parodies that you've done so far, which is your favorite?
Oh, hands down, it's the photographer one. I don't know if you saw that one. If you're familiar with what happened in Malaysia for the last 2.5 years, all summarized in one photo shoot. Social media has made it possible for people who specialize in provocation. So there are people who think, here's one way I can get attention: provocation. And so they will use it. And because these people have been allowed to use provocation on social media, people who watch it will be like, dude, this guy is just provoking. There's nothing funny about it. But I'm getting severe. This guy is clearly provoking something. Now, so that already has set. So now that's been in the mind of people who are watching videos. So some videos that they watch, which are purely entertainment videos, they'll feel like, is he trying to provoke something? Is she trying to be provocative? And we're like, no. Some videos are just dumb, silly comedy videos. We're not trying to provoke anything. If we can get a laughter from you, we're done.
Especially from a comedian standpoint, basically. Because the goal is to get people laughing.
Yeah, we're not activists. We're not openly, like we're not activists first. We're comedians first. So I think having a sense of humor is important. I think it really it helps you cope. For a lot of people, comedy is a coping mechanism. So comedy is the expression of what you're really feeling and how you're coping with it. If you have a sense of humor, if you have some a way of thinking, then the unfairness in life can be more bearable. You will have that sense where, it's gonna happen anyway. So it's not defeatist. It's not as bad as defeatist, but it's more of like, okay, well done, good, okay. Let's see how I can bounce back from this. So that's that way of looking at stuff where you're not constantly blaming yourself and you're not constantly blaming other people. Would I give it up? Not that, like, I won't give it up because I know how much I like having it. I know if you could wipe that memory, if you could say, Douglas, okay, tell you what, can you give up humor? I will wipe your memory of ever having it. What would you want in replacement? Then I would want business acumen. But you must take away all my memory of how much fun I have with humor.
Jangan perabot-perabot. Okay, ni saya tak suka ni. Sekejap chair, sekejap sofa, next apa? Kapet. Okay, jangan perabot. Okay, nak tanya-tanya betul-betul.